The hidden truth about the dark night of the soul. There comes a moment in every seeker's journey when the light fades. The world once familiar dissolves into shadows. Everything you once knew, your beliefs, your identity, your purpose, feels like an illusion slipping through your fingers. This is not just despair. It is not ordinary suffering. It is something far deeper, a cosmic initiation known as the dark night of the soul. Throughout history, mystics, sages, and awakened souls have spoken of this terrifying yet transformative passage. Some call it the death of the ego, the burning away of illusions, or the soul's descent into the abyss. But few truly understand what it means, why it happens, or the hidden power buried within this darkness. What if I told you that this harrowing experience is not a punishment, but a sacred passage, a trial that only the chosen endure? What if this darkness is not here to destroy you, but to awaken something ancient within you? In this video, we will unravel the esoteric secrets behind the dark night of the soul. We will explore the hidden wisdom behind this mysterious phase, as revealed in ancient texts, the paradoxical truth of why suffering is the key to transformation, how to navigate this darkness without losing yourself, and emerge reborn. But before we begin, know this: what you are about to hear may change the way you see reality forever. Now, let's begin. Historical and philosophical context. The dark night of the soul is not a new concept. It is an ancient trial whispered about in sacred texts, hidden within the teachings of mystics, and experienced by those who walk the path of true transformation. But where does this term come from, and why has it remained one of the most feared and misunderstood phases of spiritual awakening? The phrase "dark night of the soul" originates from the writings of Saint John of the Cross, a 16th century Spanish mystic and poet. In his work, La Noche Oscura del Alma, he describes a divine process where the soul is stripped of everything it once clung to, beliefs, attachments, even the comforting presence of the divine itself. It is a journey through desolation where all sense of self is burned away in an alchemical fire. But long before St. John put this experience into words, ancient civilizations understood its power. In Egypt, initiates of the mystery schools were placed in complete darkness for days, forced to confront their fears, their illusions, and their inner demons. Only those who emerged from this ordeal with clarity and strength were deemed worthy of the sacred knowledge. In Buddhism, the concept of sunyata, the great void, describes the moment when everything one believes about the self is shattered, leading either to enlightenment or madness. In Sufism, the poet Rumi speaks of a deep longing, a spiritual exile that pulls the soul into darkness before it can reunite with the divine. Be like a night, so you may witness the sunrise. In alchemy, the Negredo stage represents this same dark descent, the breaking down of all impurities, the death of the old self, so that something pure and golden can emerge. So why does this darkness come, and why is it feared? Because the dark night is not just suffering, it is ego death. It is the forced surrender of everything you thought you were. It is the unraveling of the illusions that hold together your identity, your beliefs, even your perception of reality itself. For centuries, this knowledge was hidden, known only to those who underwent spiritual initiation. But today, more and more people are experiencing this transformation without guidance. The modern world has no map for this kind of darkness, no sacred rites to explain why it happens, no elders to remind us that this too is part of the path. And so, those who enter this night often mistake it for something else: depression, anxiety, a crisis. But the truth is far more profound, because hidden within this darkness is the key to awakening. But what exactly happens during the dark night of the soul? Why do so many feel as though they are losing their minds? And most importantly, how can one navigate this abyss without being consumed by it? Let's dive deeper. Core Explanation Part 1. The dark night of the soul is not just an emotional struggle. It is not simply sadness, depression, or existential doubt. It is something much deeper, something ancient. It is a spiritual death. But why does it happen? Why does the universe, the divine, or whatever higher force you believe in plunge us into such darkness? To understand this, we must first recognize a truth that few dare to accept. The self you believe you are is an illusion. From the moment we are born, we are conditioned, society gives us a name, a role, an identity. We attach ourselves to beliefs, relationships, material things, and even our own thoughts. We spend our lives building this identity piece by piece, convinced that this is who we truly are. But what happens when that identity begins to collapse? The dark night of the soul is the moment when everything false, everything constructed begins to crumble. It is the ego's greatest fear, annihilation. And so it resists. It clings to old patterns. It fights. It screams. It makes you feel as if you are dying. And in a way, you are. Many who go through this experience describe the same symptoms: a profound sense of emptiness, as if nothing holds meaning anymore. The loss of identity, or even looking in the mirror feels strange. An overwhelming sense of loneliness, even when surrounded by others. The collapse of beliefs, where what once felt certain now feels hollow. An intense longing for something unknown, as if searching for a truth beyond this world. This is why so many mistake the dark night for depression. The symptoms seem similar, but the cause is different. Depression pulls you down, but the dark night, it is pulling you through, because there is something waiting on the other side of this darkness. The dark night does not come to destroy you. It comes to show you what was never real to begin with. It is a purification, a sacred burning away of illusions. In ancient times, spiritual seekers would undergo intense rituals of suffering to trigger this transformation. In modern life, it often comes uninvited through heartbreak, loss, failure, or even sudden moments of awakening that rip away the veil of comfort. You may wonder, if this process is so painful, why do some people experience it while others don't? The answer is simple. Not everyone is ready to awaken. Only those who are meant to step into a higher state of consciousness, those who are ready to see beyond the illusion, will be drawn into this trial. And this is where the real challenge begins, because once the illusions fall away, what remains? What happens next? How does one navigate this abyss without losing themselves completely? And most importantly, how do you emerge from the dark night reborn? Let's dive even deeper. Core Explanation Part 2. If the dark night of the soul strips away illusions, then what is left? This is the question that haunts every seeker who walks through this abyss. Because when everything you once believed, everything you once were, is burned away, you are left with nothing but the raw, unfiltered truth. But here's the paradox. This truth is both terrifying and liberating. In this phase, many report experiencing a profound sense of nothingness, as if the world itself is hollow, meaningless, a collapse of time. The past feels distant, the future uncertain, and the present empty. A sense of being an observer, watching life unfold, but feeling disconnected from it. The death of attachments. Things that once mattered deeply suddenly feel irrelevant. This is the void, the cosmic silence before rebirth. But the truth is, most people do not survive this phase intact. This is where many lose themselves. Some retreat into old patterns, trying desperately to rebuild their broken identity. Others numb the pain, seeking distraction, seeking comfort, seeking anything to avoid facing the void. And some simply remain lost, wandering in the darkness for years, never realizing that the only way out is through. And yet, hidden within this suffering is something extraordinary, because when everything false is stripped away, what remains is what was always real. This is why so many spiritual traditions speak of the dark night not as an end, but as a beginning. In Zen Buddhism, they call it Satori, the moment when the mind shatters, and all that remains is pure awareness. In Hinduism, Lord Shiva is both the destroyer and the liberator, because creation can only begin when the old is dissolved. In alchemy, the nigredo, the black phase, is necessary before transformation into gold. The dark night is not a punishment. It is a sacred trial, a breaking down of everything that is not you, so that your true self, the eternal, unshakable essence, can finally emerge. But how does one move through this darkness? The answer is simple, but not easy. You must surrender. This is the great secret. The only way to escape suffering is not to fight, not to resist, but to let go completely, to allow the darkness to consume everything it must, without fear, without attachment. Because when you surrender, the darkness loses its power over you. The very thing you feared, the void, the nothingness, was never empty at all. It was simply space, a sacred silence, waiting for you to become something new. And that is where transformation begins. But how does one practically navigate this journey? How can you embrace the dark night without losing yourself? In the next section, we will explore the ancient practices, techniques, and wisdom that can guide you through this abyss and lead you into the light. Practical application. You now understand that the dark night of the soul is not the end, but but the beginning, a transformation, a sacred purification. But knowing this alone is not enough, because when you are in the depths of it, when the world feels hollow, when nothing makes sense, it is easy to forget. So how do you navigate the darkness without losing yourself? How do you move through the suffering instead of being consumed by it? The answer lies in ancient wisdom, practices passed down for centuries by mystics, monks, and seekers who endured this trial before you. The power of surrender. The first and most important lesson is this: stop resisting. The more you fight the darkness, the stronger it becomes. The more you try to fix yourself, the more lost you will feel. The dark night is not a problem to be solved. It is a process to be surrendered to. Practice. When the pain becomes overwhelming, instead of running from it, sit with it. Close your eyes. Breathe. Feel the emptiness fully, without judgment. Ask yourself, who is the one experiencing this pain? Who am I beyond it? This simple act of allowing can change everything. 2. The mirror exercise. One of the most unsettling parts of the dark night is the loss of identity. You may feel like a stranger in your own body, disconnected from who you once were. This is normal. Practice. Each morning, stand in front of a mirror. Look into your own eyes, not just at your face, but beyond it. Ask yourself, who is looking back at me? You may not find an answer, but over time you will begin to sense something deeper, the presence of your true self, the part of you that has always been watching. 3. Embracing the void. Most people fear emptiness, believing it means something is missing. But in reality, emptiness is pure potential. The universe itself was born from a void. Practice. Each day, take a few moments to sit in complete silence. No distractions, no goals, just stillness. Observe your thoughts without attaching to them. Over time, this space will no longer feel empty. It will feel like home. 4. Finding symbols in the darkness. Throughout history, mystics have understood that when everything is stripped away, the universe speaks in symbols, strange synchronicities, vivid dreams, messages hidden in everyday life. These are not coincidences. Practice. Keep a journal. Write down every unusual event, dream, or gut feeling. Patterns will begin to emerge, revealing guidance from something greater than yourself. 5. Trusting the process. The dark night can feel eternal, but it is not. No night lasts forever. There will come a moment when the weight lifts, when clarity returns, when something inside you awakens. Practice. Whenever you feel hopeless, remember this: every single enlightened being throughout history has walked this path before you. You are not alone. This is a rite of passage, and when you emerge, you will not be the same. You are not dying. You are being reborn. And on the other side of this darkness is something beyond what you ever imagined. But what awaits beyond the dark night? What changes when you finally step into the light? In the final section, we will reveal what comes after the darkness, what awaits those who survive, and what it truly means to be awakened. Conclusion. There will come a moment, perhaps slowly, perhaps all at once, when the darkness begins to fade, when the weight you have carried for so long suddenly feels lighter, when for the first time in what seems like an eternity, you take a breath and feel something you almost forgot existed: peace. This is the moment after the dark night of the soul, the moment of rebirth. But what does it mean? What truly changes after walking through the abyss? The answer is simple: you will never be the same. The illusions that once bound you, your attachments, your false self, the beliefs that kept you small are now gone. What remains is something raw, something true. This is why the dark night is not a curse, but a sacred initiation. In the ancient mystery schools of Egypt, initiates were placed in complete darkness for days, sometimes weeks. Many emerged in terror, unable to withstand the silence of their own mind. But those who endured, those who surrendered to the void, awakened with sight beyond sight. In the same way, the dark night forces you into the ultimate confrontation. Who are you when there is nothing left? The truth is, no one who undergoes the dark night ever returns to who they were before. Some emerge with a profound sense of peace, an understanding that nothing in this world can shake them. Others gain clarity about their purpose, their path, their place in the grand design. And some awaken to a force greater than themselves, because beyond the darkness, Beyond the suffering, beyond the ego's death, is a vast and infinite presence. Some call it God, some call it the universe, some simply know it as the silence that remains when all else is gone. This is why so many sages, mystics, and spiritual masters have endured the dark night, not because they sought suffering, but because they knew what was waiting on the other side, freedom. So if you find yourself in this darkness now, if everything feels lost, if nothing makes sense, remember this: you are not broken, you are not alone, you are being prepared for something greater. Let the darkness strip away what is false. Let it burn through what no longer serves you. And when the time comes, step forward, because beyond this night, beyond this trial, beyond this pain, you will awaken. If this video spoke to you, let me know in the comments. Share your experience, your insights, your journey. And if you found this knowledge valuable, consider subscribing. There is so much more to explore. Together, Sparkles.